Who the hell Don't tell me we waited all this time for nothing. Alright. Hello there, you beautiful people! My name is Willow, and welcome to the very first live cast I've ever done. This is live. This game is you can see up here, we don't know shit about their economies. We don't know anything. Actually, this is a lie. I did technically live cast during LANFest, but that was an absolute... I blot that out of my memory. That day was just bad. But, nevertheless... we're here, and we're going to be casting a 3v3 on the Neuroxis map generator. I'm very excited. Let's go ahead and get into introducing our players. Team 1 over here in the bottom left, which is weird. Team 1's usually at the top, and Team 2 up here at the top right. Let's go ahead and start introducing our players with the Orange Aeon best faction by the name of Sopak. Not gonna finish that. This guy, he has a very weird name. It's foreign, I don't know. Then we have a White Aeon by the name of Terminal. Yet again, best faction, going first land. Then we have a Red Cybran going first land by the name of the Alpha. And then we're gonna go over to Team 2, where we have ourselves a Purple UEF by the name of Nucleus Genius going first land. A gray UEF by the name of Icy Nightmare, the most casted man of Willow Cast, and the second most casted player of Willow Cast, Grimplex, going Cybran, first land. And with that, we have all of the players introduced. Let's go ahead and check out the map. Only 5,000 reclaim, kind of spread out everywhere. Most of it really concentrated down here, so we're gonna have to see some transports. There's a bunch of water, there's these islands. You can't really use land unless you have hover, effectively. So I'm thinking that Team 1 might have a small advantage with Aurora, but Aurora aren't Zooies. That's kind of a big point. And, you know, Zooey's much better than Aurora at the entire floaty, be annoying kind of level of gameplay. But it's gonna be a good game. It is a 93% quality game with some high-rated players. It's gonna be a fun time. We have Nucleus Genius going very early for the Navy. Gonna be getting out Navy Factory second with, only 6 mexes to his name. I'm gonna give him this mex that's still building. And of course, we have a focus on air from the other two players of Team 2. This is Team 2. And then on Team 1, we have another set of heavy focus on air. All 3 players going for air, which means that Team 2 is gonna have a bit more air units in general. 3 players making air is better than 2 players making air most of the time. As far as the positions go, we have basically I guess anybody can expand down here, but you're kind of expecting the furthest south player and the furthest east player for Team 2, Team 1 furthest south, to be the player to expand over to these islands. So this would kind of be the carry position. There's going to be a big fight over here. I'm sure there's a lot of mass extractors. So you, of course, do have to keep an eye on all of that. And the player kind of in the center is kind of out of luck unless they expand over here, because they only have, what is this, 6, 7, 8 mexes? 8 mexes isn't that many compared to most maps. Most maps, if you expand properly on map gen, you get 10 to 12 mexes, I feel. So yeah, in general, it's a pretty starved position on this map, in my opinion, but it's going to be a-okay, because we are going to be seeing these players do their best. They're high rated, they're gonna figure it out. One of the best parts about map gen is figuring out exactly how you should play it. We have an early bomber out from the Alpha, gonna be bombing the naval facility built by Nucleus Genius, but is going to be shot down relatively soon. There's some mobile AA chasing that down. In the middle, we have a Mantis that's been built up by the Alpha as well. The Alpha being very aggressive in this early game. Gonna be killing off a mechs, some engineers, just in general. Gonna be taking control of this island, making a heavier play for it than Nucleus Genius. Nucleus Genius going for a second naval factory, so going to be quite heavy in the Navy. Our first naval factory for the Alpha is now on the way, so there's going to be an inevitable fight for the Navy up here in the northern pond, but it might be over before it begins because Nucleus has already got a frigate out and might send it down here to stop any kind of naval production from getting online. A bomber comes through, drops bombs onto the power generators. 2 more T1 bombers is all it takes to kill off all 3 of these. I don't know how heavily Nucleus is going to be relying on that, but considering he only has a hydro other than that, and it's gonna be quite dangerous for him if he loses all those power generators. A transport drop out from our orange Aeon, I'm going to call him Dave from now on, out from Dave to the southern island, has already managed to grab a significant lead on map control. He has a lot of engineers down here already. He's going to be able to get up his factories and maybe control this for the inevitable future, but we also have the Calm of Grimplex walking all the way over from his spawn way up here to the north to get his own factories online over here, so he may be in an advantageous position. But the Calm of Terminal also managing to walk all the way across from his side of the map, which is an even further trek out to this area to combat Grimplex. Grimplex going to start building up his own base here, has a PD even queued up, and that might help him out a little bit. Meanwhile, we have some naval engagement out from Terminal towards Icy Nightmare. Icy Nightmare in a unfortunate position. He has 2 naval factories finished, but the frigate that's building in this first naval factory is going to be going down due to the fire from this Beacon class frigate. Aeon frigate, so good. Actually, I think it's the worst of all the frigates, but still. The Tiger Shark coming out from the factory. A submarine will be able to force away this frigate, but it won't really be able to deal with the Aurora, but the Aurora aren't a massive issue as of the moment. Nucleus Genius managing to shut Alpha out of the Navy for now, and that could be extremely important. If he manages to get to T2 and get up some cruisers, he can threaten both the bases of Terminal and the Alpha. It might be in Terminal's best interest to try and get some control up here in the northern pond, try and send some units up to help out his ally. I know that he can't really do anything from the Navy. You can't move a ship over this. That is probably too shallow, but maybe not, looking at it again. But in general, going to want to be able to support your ally in that northern pond. Nightmare is still out here with the Tiger Shark. The Tiger Shark's going to be able to kill off all these frigates. Not a counter submarine built just yet. There might be one on the cards. Yes, a Sliff or Sylph, I can't remember exactly how you say it. T1 submarine coming out of that Aeon factory. Over here to the east, we have a single Aurora being a hero, going to be killing off a T1 mechs. This Aurora deserves a medal. He's gonna vet off of this, I believe. No, he's not. If he kills off that mechs as well, he will vet off of it. But it's not really an issue. There is a PD here, and I'm sure that either of these engineers will be able to walk over and... or I guess they're rolling over. They have wheels, of course, but going to be able to come over and rebuild these mexes that may or may not go down. I guess you could always have a bomber come over and kill this off, but the Aurora getting dangerously close to that PD and going to vet off of it momentarily. And we have a forward Aurora production facility being built by Dave. He's going to be able to get quite a few Aurora that is float. I almost said fly. Float their way over and cause a lot of harassing damage. There is, of course, still that PD, which means that Aurora are going to have quite a bit of trouble breaking this position. But if you get enough, you probably could. There's a large air engagement breaking out between Grimplex and Terminal and Icy Nightmare. The bomber over here is going to go down momentarily. I'm sure there's too many interceptors. Terminal losing that air fight quite heavily. Going to be handing air control over to Team 2. As Team 1 continues with the harassment strategies. Team 1 taking a much more aggressive stance, and Dave has managed to grab up a lot of economy. He has so many mexes right now. He's going to be in a strong position to be able to deal with the opposing team, but is it going to be enough? A huge amount of T2 mexes now built up by Nucleus Genius, who's going to T2 and is possibly going to be able to get out a cruiser very early on. He's shut the Alpha completely out of the naval game, and even if the Alpha manages to finish the torpedo upgrade, he's just going to get in the water and then be completely denied. He walks into the water, you have a destroyer or a Cooper that just slowly kills him. Building naval units are much better than the comm is at fighting naval battles. I mean, surprisingly, that, and you know, the units that are literally designed for fighting naval battles are better than the all-purpose Cybern Commander. Cybern Commander, I do have to admit, is like the Swiss Army knife of commanders. The only thing that it doesn't have an effective attack against, I guess, would be air. But everything else, it has an upgrade that will make it exceptionally effective at dealing with it. I mean, torpedo isn't exceptionally effective, but it is pretty effective against T1 units. It's not that great against the T2 naval units, but still, it's something. It's more than the other comms have, where the other comms do not get an option to attack boats from range or while submerged, to be completely honest. So it's interesting. The Swiss Army Knife Commander going to be continuing to live up to that name that I have just given to it. It's easy. It's easy to live up to a name if you give the name to yourself. I live up to the Willow's Duality name, in case you didn't know. I mean, of course, I did kind of give the name to myself. It was originally kind of like a nickname, and then you know what? Never mind. Gonna take a breath, do a little bit of breathing. It's very important to breathe when you're yelling at a microphone, in case you didn't know. Kind of a key point of it, in fact. Terminal using his comm to reclaim the naval factories of Grimplex. That is mean. That's not nice. That's not cool. He's reclaiming the factories of Grimplex. Do we have some kind of torpedo weaponry? A submarine's going to be able to come over here and help deal with this, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. I'm really worried about Team 2 at the moment, because with Dave over here causing all of this harassment damage using the Auroras, and on top of that, having all of this extra economy, he can throw it into the Navy and win the southern pond as well. This could get very dangerous very quickly. But we have some governors starting to be produced over here in the top pond, and that could start evening the scales. Of course, Dave has a large economy, but I don't think he has enough to combat all of the enemy units, or all of his enemies by himself, so I doubt that will be effective in the long term. But over here in the middle, we have Terminal still using that comm quite effectively. We have some torp bombers coming out. Terminal could go down to these torp bombers if he is not careful. There's not enough air around here, so Terminal might be just stuck in a position where he's unable to fight this battle, but it doesn't matter, because Terminal and Dave have managed to get complete dominance of the naval game in this southern pond, so it's going to be very difficult for Team 2 to be able to deal with this in an effective time, in a quick manner. Going to probably have to resort to something like HARMS or mass torp bombers, which we are seeing torp bombers, which is a good start to having a lot of torp bombers, is being able to build them. Terminal is coming back onto land, but he's kind of in the worst position. He's in an area where he can be attacked by both. Grimplex, though, dying to the south to T1PD and Aurora. He came onto land. I don't know why he didn't get back into the water. I wasn't paying much attention whatsoever. And Dave kills him off with the Aurora. That is so painful for Team 2. It is, of course, full share, so all of his base is going to be handed over to Nucleus Genius, and it's going to be a major problem. And of course, Terminal, same. If he dies, all of his stuff's gonna go to Dave, so Dave is still gonna have a stronghold on this game. Map gen, it of course is still standard to have full share completely on. Terminal is going to be taking a lot of damage, but I think he might be able to get out of this alive. We still have some torp bombers built up. The torp bombers still could come in and try and kill him off, but Icy Nightmare goes down to a Control K. Icy Nightmare decides to leave the game, and that is unfortunately going to leave this into a position of 3 versus 1. We have just Nucleus Genius versus Terminal Alpha and Dave. It's going to be extremely difficult for him to find some kind of comeback in this game, but he's working on it as he's dealing a lot of damage to the comm of Alpha. who is over here with the torpedo upgrade, but he's getting gunned down by Cooper torpedo boats at the moment, and that's going to be difficult to deal with. A bulwark shield boat also trying to help him out with this situation, and I don't know what Nucleus Genius's recourse is. If he kills off the Alpha, it's of course full share, so it's not like that's a great strategy, but I mean, taking away one of the enemy players is of course a viable strategy. I mean, if he can manage to snipe all 3 enemy players, that'll work. But now there's T3 Air finished by Dave. Dave has just taken this game and decided that he's going to win it, hard carrying over on Team 1, while Team 2 is having a bit of trouble. I guess I could just call it Nucleus's team, because he is over here fighting it out with the units of Dave. Oh my word, Terminal over here is on exceptionally low health, on 700 health. That's just a... Oh my word, does he know? Does he have any idea? I can't check his vision. I don't know if he has any idea that Terminal is so low on health. Terminal's getting back in the water. If he knew, he could send some torp bombers to try and kill him off, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I think Terminal's going to be able to get away scot-free. But Nucleus still making ground in this top bond. He already has cruisers from the fact that he was trying to do the entire mobile missile launcher to death strategy. So I think that he's going to be fine against the air forces for the moment, but there's a bunch of torpedo bombers now being produced, and the torpedo bombers are going to be able to kill off cruisers. You only need 5. I guess with a bulwark shield boat, you need a little bit more than 5 to kill off a cruiser, but still. Numbers and math and stuff, it's all very, very interesting, isn't it? There is a bunch of Aurora building up over here, and Nucleus is going to try and hold out. You have to imagine he has quite the strong economy based off of all of this. I mean, he has all of the mechs here. A lot of them are T2. He now has T3 Air. I'm guessing, yep, he's getting a T3 power generator, so that way he can hopefully get up enough ASF to gain air control. But the only bright spot for Team 2 at the moment is gonna be the northern pond, where Nucleus has held control of it for the entire game and is now killing off the final remaining naval factory using a cruiser. And it looks like Nucleus is currently in a power stall as he builds that T3 power generator, but I'm just unsure as to how he's going to be able to deal with the ever-present problem of the Southern Sea. Once we have some destroyers come up, they're going to be able to threaten all of this economy that's been built up by, well, the players of Team 2, but the cruisers, the bulwark shield boat goes down, the cruisers are going to be going down next, and they're going to go down quite quickly due to the amount of torpedo bombers here, and restorers even coming in to cause trouble for Nucleus Genius. And I think with that, this game's pretty well and good over. It's just a matter of time before Nucleus Genius manages to bite the dust. I feel he's gonna have a lot of torpedo bombers himself, but he can't keep up with the economy of Dave, much less the economy of Dave and Terminal combined. It's gonna be a tall task to get anything done. The restorers slowly working on killing off all of the engineers assisting the Naval HQ, and the Naval HQ soon to follow. And this is going to be a devastating blow to Nucleus Genius. As he loses his T2 naval factory, he loses control of the Northern Sea. In essence, he's not going to get attacked from the Northern Sea. They're not going to rebuild naval factories, but he's no longer able to put pressure onto the bases of his opponent, so he's just in a difficult position. And on top of that, yep, there we go. The Control K comes out of Nucleus Genius, and that's the end of this game. Since this game was pretty short, I'm going to go ahead and cast another one after this, and we will add that one to the video. And yeah, so just stay tuned. We're going to have another game coming up momentarily. Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome back to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever, where today I'm going to be casting another 3v3 on MapGen. This is either going to be part of the video with the 2 other casts, or it's going to be its own, depending on how long this game goes. It's a live cast. I don't know how long this game's going to be, but let's go ahead and get into introducing our players after I say like and subscribe and comment. And with that out of the way, go ahead and check out my Twitch as well, my twitch.tv/Willow's Duality, where I'm doing most of my casts now. Either way, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and start introducing our players. Team 1 at the top, Team 2 at the bottom. Let's start with the air position. We have a yellow UEF by the name of Freshie. Then moving to the southwest, we have a red Cybern by the name of the Alpha. Going first land, Freshie went first land. Then we have ourselves a gray Aeon best faction going first land by the name of Grimplex. And then moving on to Team 2, we have a white Seraphim going first land by the name of Terminal. Then we have a blue UEF going first land by the name of Noob Dragon. Then we have a gray UEF by the name of Icy Nightmare. And that is all of our players introduced. And we can look at the map. Control-Shift, we can see not much reclaim. Doesn't really matter. It's kind of just out there. You can grab it if you want it. It's in the middle. As far as the map's layout is, with a lot of MapGen maps, you kind of have a dedicated carry position. I feel that both Grimplex and Noob Dragon are kind of in the carry positions on this map, because they are the closest to most of the expansion mass extractors. Of course, you always are going to have players like the Alpha over here heading down south to try and contest this area that Noob Dragon should be trying to expand to quite heavily. But you never know. It's MapGen. Every map is new. Every map is different. Is just a strange concept, I guess. It's very cool though. I really do like MapGen. So yeah, let's see what these players are up to. We have an early Flare and Spirit combo. The Lab and Scout, a tale as old as time, a song as old as rhyme. It is absolutely beautiful, and of course is going to appear oh so often. The game quality is 94%. We have some high rated players, and then a few Joes as well. A pretty even distribution of pros and Joes in my opinion. And of course, an early Scout now coming out from Terminal, going to be able to see exactly what's going on. I'm assuming that that Scout had enough vision or intel radius to see the Scout and Spirit combo, the Flare Spirit combo. So it's going to be a pretty easy thing to deal with this, and if they didn't see it on the radar, they will see it now. While this is getting reclaim for Icy Nightmare, the Engineer will die, but it grabs up all of the reclaim that was in this little civilian structure and ensures that these players will, of course, continue to fight it out. And reclaim is so important. Everybody likes reclaim. Who doesn't like reclaim? If you don't like reclaim, you must be a communist. I don't know why I have a tinge against communism right now. I really don't. We're not going to talk about politics. Another Mantis Scout combo over here. Not quite a lab, but it is an assault bot, so I guess you could call it an ab. Yes, the Mantis ab. It's over here abbing all the way to the bank. It's an ab master. It's got 6-packs. If you have 6 Mantis, it's 6 abs. 6-pack. The new name for a group of 6 Mantis is a 6-pack. And I will not be challenged on this fact. This Mantis getting quite a bit of harassment done, getting up to 1 rank of veterancy with 116 mass killed. Kills off what I would guess is a couple of engineers, which is unfortunate for Noob Dragon, but not the end of the world, as the Alpha continues to quite aggressively send all of his units down here. We have a bit of fighting starting to kick off in the northern side between Icy Nightmare and Grimplex, and we have a strong air presence now being shown by both Freshie and Terminal, which is to be expected. They're kind of in the air position. The comm of Terminal now moving forward to try and help out the comm of Icy Nightmare, going to be able to put a lot of pressure up here to the north towards Grimplex, which is going to be quite interesting. There is a bunch of Mantis over here now firing into some Mass Extractors. It looks like Noob Dragon's struggling a little bit with the pressure put out by Alpha, but I'm sure that will be shored up relatively quickly. He is still picking up a lot of Mass Extractors and expanding slowly but surely out west, but he is going to need to get a bit more production online. I can't imagine he's using all of his mass income on building units as of the moment, but once he gets the production online, he should be able to outspam the Alpha, because even right now, he has more Mass Extractors than the Alpha. The Alpha looking to get a run-by through, and there's no snoops built up in this forest. There is a snoop back here, but this is going to be relatively unseen unless a scout flies over it, so this run-by could be dangerous, but it does look like it's been picked up by the vision range of an interceptor. The reinforcing units out from Noob Dragon are going to come forward and try and deal with this a little bit of a run-by. There's only 4 Mantis. It's not exceptionally dangerous, but could possibly kill off a Mass Extractor or 2. A couple of Mantis running by in the top. It just seems that this side of the map is a very leaky boat. Noob Dragon leaking all of the Mantis everywhere, just not quite able to stop these small punch-throughs of his defenses. Speed is on the way for Grimplex. It looks like range is also already finished, so Grimplex is going to have a gun comm. He hasn't moved his comm out of his base yet. It's a long travel time, so the double comm of Icy Nightmare and Terminal over here on the north flank is going to be a bit of an issue, because right now, even though they do not have gun, they will be able to come up here and start just destroying this spam. The spam's going to have to be microed quite well, and he's going to need to keep intel ranges good so he can see the enemy comms. The Alpha is gaining some ground over here to the south against Noob Dragon. I would like to see possibly some support out from either Terminal or, well, mainly Terminal. I'd like to see some support come out from him towards Noob Dragon, as he's having so much trouble with the forces of Alpha. But currently, Noob Dragon and Alpha, their comms are meeting. There's a lot of units in play, but it looks like Noob Dragon might have the edge. He might have just a few more units, and that is significant at this point. Damage and range on the way for Icy Nightmare. It looks like Terminal might be showing up to assist with that. It does seem that way, so that gun and damage and range upgrade is going to be finished quite quickly as the comm of Grimplex moves out of the base and towards the opposing spam and units. It's still quite the issue down here in the south. Noob Dragon having a lot of trouble, but his comm has managed to lower the Alpha's health down quite a little bit. The Alpha moving back into range of Noob Dragon, which seems a bit dangerous, but it is, of course, going to have the support of all of these Mantis here. The reinforcements out from Noob Dragon are starting to move forward, going to be able to pour a ton of damage into these units that were focusing on the comm of Noob Dragon, and it's going to look like it might be a bit of a stalemate. Alpha and Noob Dragon probably going to have to both fall back relatively soon. Full share is on, by the way, so if either of these players get ejected, their units just get sent over to the highest scoring player on their team, so that would be Terminal and Freshy. We have Terminal with a few Volthu gunships out. He has 4 at the moment. We have T2 Air finished for Freshy, but he may not have enough interceptors to really deal with the possibility of a gunship snipe this early. I would like to see if there's enough anti-air out from any of these players, but I'm not sure if there will be. Speed and range on the way for the Alpha. Meanwhile, Noob Dragon is currently just kind of using his comm, I think, for reclaim. No, not quite. He is just holding the line with the units for now. In the north, we have the damage and range comm of Icy Nightmare moving forward towards Grimplex, who is falling back with that speed and range comm of his own. It looks like Icy Nightmare doesn't quite have the intel range to be able to shoot at Grimplex at the moment, so he is going to have to fall back instead of just constantly taking those shots to the face. Speed and range about 50% done, and he is being assaulted by the units of Noob Dragon, but I don't think Noob Dragon has enough units to make this assault work. Speed and range is probably going to finish regardless due to all of the Mantis showing up to kind of thwart this attack out from Noob Dragon. Do we have any kind of tech up on the land on the cards? We do not for Noob Dragon at least. Do we have Tech 2 on the way for Icy Nightmare? I do not see that either, so it does not look like that's the case. We have about 5 Volthus built up. It's kind of getting a little bit late to start going for a snipe. I'd like to see the snipe tried a little bit sooner than it currently is. But we have more Volthus showing up to try and cancel the upgrade on the Alpha. I'm not sure if this is going to work. It might just be able to kill the Alpha as well. I don't know where all of the interceptors are. There's interceptors from Grimplex and Freshie rushing their way down towards the Alpha, but the Alpha's in a lot of danger currently, going down to sub 4,000 HP. I don't even know if he finished his gun upgrade. He did manage to finish the gun upgrade, but are the interceptors going to show up in time to deal with this? The interceptors out from Noob Dragon showing up to try and help with all of this, but is it going to be enough? There's still 2 Volthus alive, down to 1,200 HP, and the Volthus go down, but that has severely hurt the health on that Cybran Comm. So the Cybran Comm probably not going to be able to be used aggressively like he had hoped with that gun damage and range upgrade. He's gonna regenerate health at 15 health a second, but that still takes a nice little while for it to come to fruition and deal any kind of significant healing to that comm. T2 on the way for Icy Nightmare. I think I saw somebody else finish T2. Nope, it's just Icy Nightmare, but getting T2. He's up to 95%. He's gonna finish that momentarily, and then he's gonna be able to build up some T2 PD, stop the ever-present unit spam out from Grimplex from being an issue. The T2 PD being built quite quickly, but I don't know if it's going to finish in time. Icy Nightmare is going to have to start falling away as he's only at 8,800 HP, and he can't afford to continue to fight this against Grimplex's gun comm as well. Grimplex's comm under heavy assault by Volthu gunship. 5 Volthu gunships is a lot more DPS than the paltry 2 or 3 we saw attacking the comm of Alpha. Grimplex in a lot of danger. He's trying to go for possibly a trade kill onto Icy Nightmare. Either way, I think he might just be dead due to all of the... Or no, he may not. He may be able to survive this if the gunships go down very soon, but the gunships aren't going down just yet. There we go. Grimplex ends up dying to a Volthu snipe, and we have Icy Nightmare, who's on relatively low health. Freshie could try and push forward and deal with this. Freshie is going to get the entire base of Grimplex. I'm not sure if this is a good or bad thing for Team 2, honestly, because Team 2 now has to deal with the fact that Freshie has so much economy behind him. He's going to be able to get a lot of these production facilities running very quickly and possibly going to be able to overwhelm his opponents with sheer numbers, but there's a huge amount of interceptors out from Terminal over here, and there's another Volthu now firing on the comm of Freshie. The Volthu is going to go down to these interceptors, but there's more Volthus constantly showing up, and this is a painful situation for Team 1 as they start getting pummeled down by the Volthu snipes. In the southern side, Noob Dragon is trying to fight against the Alpha. The Alpha might have enough spam, but Noob Dragon has a decent amount of units himself and may have a bit of trouble with breaking through. I don't think either comm is at risk down there. Freshie managing to fall back and stay alive. He managed to get rid of the gunships in time, but more gunships coming down to try and kill off the Alpha. The Alpha's only on 3,700 health. It does not take very long for gunships to chew through this comm's HP. It's 3,600 health, 3,500, 400. Ooh, it's gonna be difficult to survive this. Are there any interceptors showing up to help him? No, Freshie has all of the interceptors. Alpha is dead. And this is going to be a second ejection, leaving Freshie in a 1v3. And this is, of course, very unfortunate. He can still try and fight this out. He is in a massive economic position, has more concentrated eco than the entirety of, well, Team... I'm not sure if he has more eco than Team 2, but he definitely has more eco than any other player in the game. Oh my word. A large push now out from Noob Dragon, heading towards Freshie's, well, formerly Alpha's position. as Freshie has to try and find a way to combat the enemy's increased APM, because they have a lot more APM than him at the moment. And, yeah, it's just going to be a difficult game for Freshie at the moment. He does have T2 land. He's starting to have hoplites pour out of his factories. He also has T2A on land, and he's getting T3A on, so he'll have Harbingers momentarily. I mean, I think he has the economy to produce the Harbingers, so he should be able to start making Harbingers out of that factory. He has heavy assistance on it. He doesn't even opt to get the T3 engineer for power generation. He's just deciding to go straight for the Harbinger spam, and I can't blame him. It seems like a good idea. The eastern flank's going to be a bit harder to break than this southern side, but he may be able to do it. Might also want to look into getting... He does have T3 air now as well, so he has a tech advantage, I think, over the rest of the field. Nobody else has T3 anything, so this is going to be a very difficult situation now for Team 2, as they're not going to have a good counter to ASFs or strap bombers, really. There's some Nathas coming in. It looks like they might be trying to get a snipe on something particularly important, but I'm not sure what that would be. They could go for this T2 power generator, but there's so many T1 power generators that I'm not sure would be exceptionally effective, as there's so much... I don't know. Maybe he needs the T2 power generators right now? That's a bit painful. The Nathas are going to try and come in for a second pass. They might get it. The second T2 PGen may go down as well. They didn't get their bombs off, so the second T2 PGen does not go down, meaning only that one T2 PGen goes down. He's currently building up that T3 PGen here soon. That will not be an issue, but they did get valuable information. They see the T3, and that's going to be difficult to deal with. The Harbinger over here is kind of suiciding into some triads. That is not the way you want things to go with your Harbingers, but Icy Nightmare is going to be able to overcharge it. The Harbinger might live still. It can try and outrun. Nope. It is going to die. And Freshie is putting on a stalwart defense against his opponents. I do have to give that to him at the moment. I'd like to see... He's building the T2 power gen again because he can't afford the T3 power gen without it. And I'd like to see that T3 power gen finish and him to try and abuse the fact that he has T3 air. He still has a massive advantage. If he can get that T3 power generator built in a timely manner, then he can definitely get up a strap bomber or some kind of way to control the enemy's economy. And he could very possibly put himself into a winning position. We need to keep an eye on whether or not Team 2 manages to get up some kind of T3 tech on either of their... on any of their players. T3 air, of course, on the way for Terminal. The Terminal will have T3 air momentarily, but he doesn't have the same economy as Freshie. Freshie can afford to produce out of that T3 air factory a lot easier than Terminal can afford to produce out of his. So it's going to be a bit of a problem. A bunch of transports trying to come in to drop off... what is this? Is this Sparkies or something? No, these are just strikers, just trying to do a tank drop. They are gonna... 3 of the transports are gonna manage to drop, but there's a Harbinger right here, and this is just gonna kill off a TMD. Maybe that's what he really wanted to die, but he doesn't have a tactical missile launcher as far as I can tell, so I'm not sure if that's gonna be exceptionally effective. And this is going to be a difficult... I don't know. It just seems like Freshie has just enough to hold at any given time. So I'm thinking Freshie is starting to put himself in an advantageous position. He's going to start having a lot more production with that T3 power generator finishing. He's going to be able to build some kind of aggressive T3 air. The T3 air for Terminal is finished, but he's just now starting his T3 power generator. So you could possibly see something like a strap bomber come out and do damage to the power generators. Oh, that's just being repaired. The hoplites aren't apparently quite enough to protect this T2 HQ coming out from the land of, well, formerly the Alpha. Formerly the Alpha, I believe, even built the T2 HQ, but the engineers managing to repair just enough to keep this alive, and the T2 and T3 units out from Freshie are going to manage to protect this just enough to keep it alive. He's going to continue to... Oh, wait, no! It dies to the last volley out from those Lobos. Oh my god. Map control is now very bad for Freshie. I mean, he does have a lot of T2 mexes. I mean, you gotta look at the bright side. I have to root for the underdog, and I have to kind of look at it of how can Freshie eke a win out of this situation. And this southern flank is going to be quite a problem now for Team 2, because all of these T3 units showing up, it's only a few Harbingers, but a few Harbingers is more than enough to deal with a bunch of Lobos and some pillars. A few Harbingers are going to be able to deal quite a bit of damage, and on top of that, the hoplites are going to be helping out, and there's a lot of T1 still in this force, not a whole ton of T2 units, so it's going to be able to do quite a bit against this particular force. But we have T3 on the way for Icy Nightmare. We have T3 land even on the way for Icy Nightmare, so we're probably going to see a bunch of Titans, since he does indeed love his Titans. T3 land on the way for Noob Dragon. T3 air has finished for Terminal, so Terminal also at the T3 air phase and building ASFs. We have a few broadswords that have finished up for Freshie, and now he's starting to work on ASF production, so he's going to be able to hold out for a while. I think that a snipe is his only worry. His comm kind of is in a not great position, quite far forward, but is still not... I'm not really seeing anything that's going to kill him in the next about minute to 2 minutes, so that is a pretty good position for somebody in a 1v3. Not dying within the next few minutes is the first step to not losing the match. He has a few Harbingers and Hoplites still over here trying to defend. It might be time to try and get up some support factories to produce more of these, and we're starting to see Sprite Strikers appear on the battlefield. And it's going to be... Wow, that Harbinger taking a lot of damage from those Lobos. I'm just kind of at a loss for words. It's just... It's kind of a... It's just a difficult situation for Freshie, and for Team 2, it seems like they're trying to figure out a way to end the match. Of course, there's many ways to do so. I mean, you could just see somebody try and sack their entire production, go straight for some kind of experimental to deal with things, but I'm not sure if that's how they want to approach it. A slow and steady approach out from Noob Dragon seems to be just constantly build Lobos and throw them at this southern position of Freshies. Freshie has the high-tech units, but a bunch of Lobos coming in and just killing off every structure is still painful. And it's going to be a... at this point, I don't think Freshie can come back. Over here to the east, we do have a large push coming out from Freshie. We have some sniper bots, we have a bunch of Harbingers, but there's a Ravager up, and the Ravager is going to do a bunch of damage. They're walking into range of T1PD. T1PD has a ton of DPS, and all of the Harbingers are dead. There's just T1 here now. That's a completely failed and dead attack. Overcharge plus Ravager plus T1PD absolutely kills stuff. And it's just, yep, there it is. Freshie Control K's decides that he is unable to reconcile his deficit against his opponent, and that's the end of the game. So, yeah. I think this is going to go into the other one where I live casted 2 other games. So we'll have 3 casts, if yeah, you know, stuff. So, that's it. Let's go ahead and get out of this. Alright, so we're into the second cast. It's gonna be a 1v1 on Neuroxys map generator this time. And we got an interesting map before I introduce our players. They're both from the last game, so we don't have to worry about like the nameplate or anything. They're both playing the same faction. But, you know, I'm gonna introduce them anyways. We have ourselves a kind of weird, like, undulating hills kind of thing. It's not really that big of a difference in height, except for where the bases are. And we only have 225 reclaim, so reclaim just isn't a thing on this map. So yeah, up here at the top we have Icy Nightmare, and he's a gray UEF going first land. Then we have the Cybran, Red Cybran, by the name of the Alpha going first land. And yeah, that's exactly what it is. So Icy is going for a early Hydro, completely skipping power generators until he has it. Looks like he's going to go for 4 Mexes and then a Hydro. And it looks like the Alpha's doing the same strategy, so these players relying on not power stalling while building the Hydro, which is, I find it to be risky. I usually mess it up, not gonna lie, I'm not that great, but, you know, I feel I can generally have a solid opener. I don't think there's a power stall yet for either of these players, though, so... You know, it's just how it happens, and words. So yeah, the way this map looks like it's gonna work, there's a lot of mexes to expand to. It's actually originally a 4v4 map, but we couldn't get it to fill, so we went with 1v1. So there's all of these mexes out to the west and the east, respectively, for Icy Nightmare and the Alpha. So yeah, we're going to 4 mechs and you will never stall. Apparently, Grimplex knows something I don't. Grimplex is in the chat. I should be looking at chat, but apparently I'm going to because I'm really bad at this live casting thing. Thank you very much. We also have the smallest pond in existence over here in the middle. I know it's not the smallest, but you could build a naval factory in it. You could try. There's also ponds in all 4 corners. You could try Navy. I don't think it'd be exceptionally effective since neither of these players are playing Aeon. You don't have the Torrent. The Torrent might be kind of useful. Maybe you could go for like a Summit class or a Galaxy class battleship. That might work, but I'm not entirely sure. Grimplex going for the expand to this area a little bit faster than the Alpha. That might be the deciding factor here. So, yeah, it is gonna be... I don't really know. It's not quite a balanced game. The Alpha is 1400 versus Icy Nightmare, who's a 1700. So we expect Icy Nightmare to have a little bit of a better strat, but you never know what could happen. There's always like... This game is just built for crazy shit happening. We all know it. We've all seen it. We all play this game. No, not really. I'm sure there's plenty of people who watch my casts who do not play the game. But still. Early Bomber out from the Alpha, going to be passing over a Striker, so it will be scouted. There is a Interceptor already on course to intercept, which is kind of the role of the Interceptor, I guess, you know, intercepting the enemy T1 Bomber. And this T1 Bomber is doomed. F in the chat for Jimmy the Zeus, who died at the 3-minute and 30-second mark. Over here to the west of Alpha's base, there is a Striker that's managed to get in here. It looks like the Alpha noticed it just in time and is going to be able to run away with his engineers. I don't think that Icy Nightmare has any idea exactly where the engineers are, so is going to be able to get away from that one. Might end up killing off this Mex, but I don't think it's going to happen. The Mantis is going to be able to kill off the Striker, but the Mantis forces the Striker into the engineer. No! No, poor engineer, you... Oh, is he gonna get both engineers because of this? No, the second engineer is still running. The second engineer is still using its stubby little wheels to get the hell away from the very mean Striker. Oh my word. Is the Striker gonna get the second engineer? Do not tell me that that's... Oh my god, it's gonna get the second engineer. F in the chat. Oh my god. Oh, that hurt. That hurt so much. That was so painful. I feel so bad. Striker, now coming over here. Another engineer of the Alpha is going to die. The Alpha getting heavily stunted on expansion right now, as a bunch of Strikers are just finding their way to his engineers. It's looking kind of bad for Alpha at the moment, as he just doesn't seem to have the Mantis to combat the constant stream of Strikers coming out of Icy Nightmare's base. He's constantly just sending them out. He has them very spread out to find all of the engineers. Another engineer going to be going down over here. It's just a sad story all around as Icy Nightmare continues behind this to expand and grab more territory and get more mexes so he can build more Strikers to cause more harassment damage and be more of a problem. He's just doing more. But we have a T2 air factory on the way. And we have a man who has a reputation for Corsairs, so I guess there's a chance of the sniperage. We could have a professional sniper on our hands, and T2 engineer. I guess you need T2 power to make Corsairs efficiently, so that might be the strategy. Zeus coming in, going to be killing off a Striker. Might be able to get a few Striker kills. I'm guessing this is going to prompt response of the interceptors that Icy Nightmare has built, but maybe not, who knows. And this is just going to be painful. So this expansion's dead to 2 Strikers. I don't know how many Mantis the Alpha's built, but it's like gotta be in the single digits, because he's built 2 land factories, but they've only really made engineers. So this is a bold strategy. I think it just got scouted, and now there's Strikers in range, and there's nothing to deal with the Strikers. So I think that this might just be a GG already, because now all he has to do is get up more interceptors if he scouted this. So and the Alpha control Ks. Well, there we go. That's 2 very short casts for you all. I'll try and find a good match to cast, but this is going to be the daily cast for the channel. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you to my patrons, Sergeant Syphilis, Timothy Calderwood, and Nogthar. If you liked, like it. If you disliked, dislike it. Subscribe. All of the good stuff. And I will see you in the next YouTube video. Arrgh!